Hey everyone, it's Thor. In today's video, I just wanted to go over my Dragonflight Season 1 recap and show you where you can make yours and talk about what my plans are for the upcoming Season 2 of Dragonflight. So if you go to Radar.io, you can go to the Community tab and click on Dragonflight Season 1 Recap. If you haven't done this before, they've done this every season, going all the way back to Battle for Azeroth. It's a really cool feature. It kind of tracks all your progress and your characters throughout the season, and then you can see who are the people that I've grouped with, what classes have I grouped with, lots of cool different stats that we'll look at when we get to my recap in just a second. If you want to make your own, you can scroll down to the bottom of this page, and there will be a button that says Generate Your Recap. You'll probably have to refresh your Blizzard account first, or connect it if you've never done that before. But you just do that, it'll walk you through whatever steps you need to take. And then you click on the button and you will get a recap like this. I've already generated mine, so I just added in a second tab here. And let's talk about what we've got going on here. So the first thing it shows you is what specs you've grouped with and how many times you've grouped with each of them. So I've grouped with every spec in the game this season between Raid and Mythic Plus. 37 in Raid, all of them in Mythic Plus. I'm imagining probably Survival Hunter is the one that I didn't see in Raid that I did see in Mythic Plus, since there are only 2 of them. Resto Druid the most makes a lot of sense. They're a pretty meta healer for most of the season. BM Hunter, I do have some friends who play BM Hunter, so that probably explains why they're so high. Also a very popular class too. No real surprises here. You'll notice most of the tanks are on the lower side. That's because I spent about half the season taking, so that explains why, Prot Warrior at 36 is the highest. And I did group with all the tanks at one point or another. So, yeah, no big surprises there. Pretty cool stuff. Next up, it gives you kind of a gear progression. And so, just looking through the season, I started the season on my Evoker. I played Evoker for about half the season, and then we had a tank opening for our raid team. So I swapped over to Druid. And then my Druid actually didn't pass my Evoker in item level for a few weeks. And then playing Druid in the middle of the season made me really want to play a different tank, because Druid felt like it was putting in a lot of work for less results than other tanks are seeing. So I swapped to Monk, and then right after my Druid passed my Evoker in item level, my Monk actually passed my Druid. And then I obviously finished out the season at Monk, finished at 419 item level, not too bad. It does show you your single biggest item level jump for any piece of equipment, and that was pretty sure this was on my Death Knight, going from a Crimson Combatant's Jewel Signet all the way to a almost fully upgraded Onyx Amulet. So that's pretty funny. Cool. Raid bosses. So I'm in a heroic raiding guild. We do dabble in Mythic a little bit toward the end of the season if it seems like it's something that's not going to be too painful. And so you can see we did kill Aranog in Primal Council a few times. We killed... we cleared heroic several times. After the first 3 Razageth kills, we kind of just stopped doing Razageth because, we killed the boss multiple times, and it still kind of felt like we were banging our heads against the wall, and it just wasn't really worth the effort when there wasn't anything from the boss's loot table that was particularly exciting for heroic, since many of us were also doing a lot of high-end Mythic Plus. So for several weeks, we just did clears through Broodkeeper and then called it a night. And then, that kind of shows here. I defeated 150 raid bosses this season, 7 on Mythic, 80 on Heroic, 63 on Normal. And then this kind of shows you like different stats for what the average player did. And then it shows you how long or how many pulls it took you to kill a boss on each difficulty. So Aranog, we took 6 pulls on Mythic, just 1 on Heroic and Normal. Pretty easy boss. Taros, just 4 on Heroic and Normal. We didn't pull Taros at all on Mythic. We just went Aranog into Primal Council for Mythic, because those were the items that we wanted to try to get in our vaults, and we actually did get some of them. On my Monk, I actually got a Mythic Aranog ring, which I was super happy about. And again, no big surprises here. Kind of in the teens for Dathia, Kurog, and Broodkeeper, which were not super difficult bosses, but just new mechanics to learn. And then 65 pulls for Razageth on Heroic, This is faster than we've killed some in bosses in the past, so nothing too bad here. Yeah, happy with how progress went this season. And then it shows you what your closest wipe was. We had a 1.58% health wipe on normal Senarth. You can see Senarth, we one shot on Heroic the first time we killed it. Took 9 pulls on normal. I think the big problem, if I'm remembering correctly, was just the icy floor mechanic. Took us a few pulls to get used to. We were sliding around, running into each other, people getting pulled off the boss platform and all that. Next up, it shows you how long you spent on each boss, in terms of like how many raid, like full raid time that the raid was out. So we killed normal Razageth in the second reset, 9 days into the tier, and Heroic Razageth 41 days into the raid release, so 7 raid resets in. Pretty happy about that. I think that's faster than we've got AOTC, at least since I've joined the guild. So that's really cool to see. And then obviously we didn't clear Mythic Razageth. We're just, raiding for fun on Heroic. It's the kind of guild I want to be in. It took us 42 days to complete all of the incarnates. It took us 8 hours and 49 minutes of actual progression on Raz. We have 3-hour raid nights, so this is like almost 3 full raid nights, which is really not that bad. Although a lot of that was, like an hour at the end of a raid night when everybody's also already tired and we've killed everything up to that point. Almost 5 hours on Broodkeeper, second to last boss, and then almost 4 hours on Dathia. So pretty cool. Mythic Plus key progression. This is kind of where I focus more of my high-end gaming, where a lot of people do these days. And yeah, I'm really happy how I did this season in Mythic Plus. I pushed up to like the 22 level in Court and Shadowmoon. I got all of the dungeons timed on 20. I think about half of them timed on 21. So really happy with that. This is the first season I pushed to get all the portals. Was able to do that by timing every dungeon on a 20. Started off, just kind of making steady progress. Got to this like wall of clearing 18s for a while, and then about halfway through the season was able to get my first 20s timed, and then managed to get my last one, which was I think my last one was Halls of Valor, and I got that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Pretty cool to see that. And then here, this is another cool screen. It shows you what classes and specs you played. You can see Brewmaster Monk ended up being my main, and I did the most runs on it. A very large amount of these were just low keys doing Valor farming, doing like a +2 or a +3, where someone has got a fresh character and everyone comes in and helps clear a dungeon for them so they can get a vault, and you get the bonus Valor for helping them out. So 150 runs sounds like a lot, but a lot of them were in the like 10-ish minute range. And then a Devastation Evoker. Well, I played quite a bit of both Evoker specs, and I liked the class, but again, it can't tank, so it was a pretty easy decision to move away from it when the time came. I did play several other tanks. I played Guardian Druid, like I already mentioned. I did a little bit of Prot Paladin, a little bit of Blood DK this season, 15 runs on each of them. And then I played all 4 Druid specs and all 3 Monk specs, although only 2 runs on Mistweaver. We'll talk more about what my plans are for next season later. I did do 8 runs on the Discipline Priest. Before I swapped over to tanking, I was thinking about doing a 0 to Hero challenge on a Priest, and so I kind of started that and was going a little bit slow, just trying to do like 2 or 3 keys a week. And then when I needed to get my Monk and Druid up to speed, I just kind of abandoned that. So maybe that's something we'll pick up next season. My top Mythic Plus comp. So this shows you like which composition you ran the most keys with, or like which one you had the most like number of keys run with. And so for mine, this is probably a little bit unique. Guardian Druid, Preservation Evoker, Demo Warlock, Devastation Evoker, and Havoc Demon Hunter. Certainly an interesting group here. You've got, like, obviously Preservation was a meta healer for a lot of the tier, especially before 10.0.7. But Guardian Druid was never part of the meta. Devastation Evoker is never part of the meta. But yeah, this is, I played a decent amount of Preservation Evoker with a friend who's playing Guardian Druid and another friend who's playing Demo Warlock. So that's probably where that comes from. And then, maybe we just ran several keys with this comp. It shows you what the most common is. So it's not a surprise to see Prot Warrior and Resto Druid at all key levels. Actually, the same one for all keys 2 to 15. MM Hunter and Windwalker Monk, and then the Windwalker gets subbed out for an Outlaw Rogue for higher keys. If you look at the absolute highest, I'm sure this looks quite a bit different. But yeah, that's pretty fun to see that. Most run dungeons, no surprises that Court of Stars and Shadow Moon are the top for me this season. Probably a lot of people have a similar outlook there. And then No Cood, it's a little interesting to me that No Cood's the lowest one. I never, I guess early in the season I avoided this because some of the bosses were a little bit painful. But I didn't intentionally, try to avoid running No Cood. Probably Temple and Ruby Life Pools were the ones that I, actively tried to dodge the most. There's some not fun areas to tank in those. But yeah, that's good. Halls of Valor, I think, had my lowest completion rate. It only... It looks like it's about tied with Azure Vault, but Azure Vault was a lot harder to time earlier in the season. Fastest key, I did a +2 Shadow Moon, one of these Valor farming keys with 77% of the timer left. And closest key, I actually recorded this one, but the quality was pretty low, so I haven't posted it. If you guys want me to post it, let me know in the comments, and I'll edit it up and post it. But I had a Court of Stars that was 0.7 seconds over. Or under the timer. That was that was incredibly close. If you've never had a key this close, it'll tick over to so Court of Stars has a 30-minute timer, and it'll tick over and show 30 minutes or 30 minutes exactly, but you still have 1 second to complete the dungeon. So I thought we actually didn't time it because it showed 30 minutes and 0.3 seconds on the Mythic Plus Week aura that a lot of people run. And so I was very disheartened because it's a 22, that was a good score. And then once the toast popped up in the middle of the screen, it said that we did time the dungeon. So that was kind of fun. Had a total of 4 keys with less than 10 seconds left. So cutting it close, playing it down to the wire several times. IO score, I was again pretty happy with this. This is the highest I've ever pushed in a season, and I was able to get my score to go up pretty much every week. Even some of the weeks it was a very minor climb, like going 2356 to 2365, and then later in the season just getting 5 points the last week. But yeah, going up every week across the season was pretty nice. Ran a total of 391 dungeons for a lot of playtime. Enough to watch the Warcraft movie 88 times. I would not watch the Warcraft movie 88 times. Mythic Plus Buddies. This is kind of cool. If you have a group of friends or a guild that you play with often, you'll see some of your friends in here, some familiar faces. So that's pretty neat. And then, yeah, I ran with 938 total characters, which I don't know if that's a lot for everybody, but it felt like a lot to me. I did do quite a lot of pugging this season, more than usual. And I think I learned a lot from that. And I think I got a lot better, especially as a tank, at refining routes and just trying to make sure that I'm doing things that are not unexpected, that people are, that's predictable, so that people who you aren't in Discord with or people that you haven't run with before don't get surprised and panic. And that's the end of the recap. So as far as what we're looking to do in Season 2, obviously I've been playing a decent amount of WoW with my wife, and we've been streaming that and making some shorts about that. We're looking to continue doing that. I don't think she's going to be super interested in doing high-end Mythic Plus or raiding. She's more interested in story elements, and so we'll probably do some like going through old zones, going through old raids, Maybe we'll do some lower keys or like some LFR rating on stream to get some content and to get some just some fun. I'll let her see the story for the expansion. But Dragonflight's been super fun. I've done keys and raid pretty much every week, at least to some degree. I've played almost every day since the expansion launched, which certainly not something I can say I did for Shadowlands or Battle for Azeroth. So I've been loving the expansion so far. As far as my personal goals for Season 2, I'm going to start on my monk and probably just be a brewmaster main. Definitely going to be a brewmaster main. I'm the only person in my guild who's looking to play monk next year, so that makes that a pretty easy decision. And some of the things that I'd like to do, I would like to try to get up to 2500 score with all 3 monk specs. I have played a decent amount of Windwalker in the past. I haven't played a ton of Mistweaver really ever. I did a couple of keys on it this season. I did play some Mistweaver all the way back in Mists of Pandaria when the class was first added, but it was a very, very different class back then. So I'm looking forward to, getting some time in on all 3 monk specs, seeing if I can push up to like 2500 IO score or higher on all of them. I definitely want to get all the portals on my monk again. I want to clear OTC. I may do some PvP goals, but I'm not really looking to set any of those just yet. And then as far as some other things, I'm thinking about doing a 0 to Hero challenge. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments what class you'd like to see me play. And we'll look into getting that set up once the season is a little bit underway. I'm also planning to do some hardcore classic WoW. If you're unfamiliar with the terminology, hardcore in a video game, at least in Blizzard games, it means that if you die on your character, you do not ever play that character again. You have to delete it. So playing classic WoW and trying to reach level 60 without dying is a challenge that a lot of people are doing right now. And honestly, it sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm probably going to pick one night a week to stream that and see how that goes. I have a character set up for it, and it hasn't entered the world yet. So I think we'll try that out and see how it goes. See if people like it. See if I like it. See how frustrated I get. You get to come and hear me complain, or see me having fun and freaking out at dangers of the World of Warcraft. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate the view and the time spent watching it. It really helps out the channel. If you want to give us a like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Really appreciate all of you. I hope you all have a fantastic day and enjoy your continued adventures in the world of Azeroth. Bye, friends.